If you think there is one correct way to do the extended side angle, you are limiting your understanding of biomechanics. Is the hand outside the foot better than the inside? Does the bind actually help your hips? And does the Bikram method really activate your core? In today's video, we're going to have a look at 5 different versions of the extended side angle. And we're not just looking at the shapes here, we're going to be analysing the leverage, the torque and the skeletal loading of each version so you can choose the one that fits your body or how you feel on that day. In the first version of the pose, you place your hand to the outside of your front foot. I'm going to use a block and I'll explain to you why I'm actually using a block. So in side angle, your foot position is typically that of warrior 2. So if my left foot is 12 o'clock, my back foot is 2 o'clock for warrior 2. That's the easiest way for you to remember. Although some people do like 3 o'clock for their hips, personally and mechanically speaking, I do believe 2 o'clock is a much better position. It's much more stable and it can put less pressure into the SI joint. But again, a preference. If you go 3 o'clock or even 4 o'clock and there's no discomfort, why not? But again, I would argue long term, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock is the best foot position for your extended side angle. I'm going to place my left hand to the outside of the block and I'm going to prevent my hip from sinking by pushing my left hand and my left heel into the ground to engage there. And then I'm going to bring my arm forward and look up toward the middle finger of my right hand. I'm going to turn the chest to face up. And then, as you know, I like to close my eyes, really focus on your toes. Now, look at the difference between this and this. You see how I lift my body by pushing my heel into the ground and then I reach there. So I feel it here in my obliques and in my QL. So I'm trying to reach with the area above my hip and my ribs rather than my fingertips. So I see people in class all the time doing this with their hands, stretching their fingertips. There's nothing wrong with that, but I've never ever heard a physio or any type of physical therapist tell someone, yeah, you need more flexible fingers. But do we need more flexible side muscles and lats? Absolutely. So relax your fingers and focus more on here, there. My front knee wants to stay pointing forward and slightly out. The problem with the left arm to the outside is it can at times push the knee in. So if you look at it from this version, if you do that, if there's not enough space because your shin bone is long, you need to get it out of the way, and people do that. So what you do is you use a block and you give yourself space. There we go. And that is simply limb proportions, as I've explained in a previous video. If your ribs are crushing against your thigh in side angle, like mine do, it's because your shin bone is longer relative to your upper arm and lower arm. So you need a block to extend your arm. There we go. That's so much more comfortable. There, extended side angle with the focus on reaching from here. What is the foundation? Your feet. Focus on feet, reach and breathe. And as I like to do, close your eyes. So what are the major muscles being worked and stretched in that pose? Well, in terms of engagement, in terms of muscles are getting stronger and more durable, it's going to be the muscles of the back of the leg, your hamstrings, glutes, muscles to the outside, your hips, your quadriceps, and your triceps, the back of the arm, as you push your hand into the ground. The main stretch you will feel in your QL, your obliques, and your lats. They're the big muscles of your back as you reach. In the second version, all the muscles working are exactly the same, but the stretch just changes a little. In this version, my front foot 12 o'clock, back foot 10 o'clock because I'm switching sides. I resist gravity, so I need to use my triceps to really push into the ground. So look at this. This is passive and this is really active. There, you see how I need to turn the left shoulder away, reach up there. By reaching up rather than forward, I change the stretch to my pectorals rather than my lats. So my pectorals and the anterior deltoid, or the front head of my shoulder, are now getting the primary stretch. So one version is not better than the other. Each version is just different in terms of the muscles that it stretches. As with version 1, your focus is still the same, to really use and engage your feet, to use your muscles to resist gravity and reach up with your chest and shoulder rather than your fingertips. The third version is the elbow on the knee version, which a lot of teachers give as a basic requirement, meaning if you've never done side angle before, give this a go. But in actual fact, it's not as easy as you think if you do it well. I don't need my block for this one. I'm going to start in my warrior 2 foot position. And what I do is I use my arm to direct my knee forward and out there. Not too far. You see what happens? Look at my foot. If I take it too far, my arch lifts excessively. I want my big toe to stay down, my arch, which is this curve here, to stay as it is, all the while gently pushing my knee out and forward. So not this. So I push my heel into the ground there. Look what happens when I hang. Look what happens when I'm actively pushing forward there. Now, can you see my back leg? Look what happens when I hang. Look what happens when I push the small toe into the ground. Try that for yourself. Don't just hang, push the small toe into the ground. Feel that there. And this allows me to turn my chest to face up. There we go. Because we're not doing much with our arms, you can argue that the pose is not very stretchy at all. And really all it's doing is building muscular endurance, stability and strength in and around the entire lower body. Variation number 4, this is where things get a little bit tough. This is the bind. Very, very awkward. Not difficult, awkward. And it does require a certain limb proportion as well. If you have shorter arms, you're going to find this very awkward. How do you know if you have short arms? Well, sit down, and if your elbows are bent when you're sat down, you can argue that your arms are okay. But if your arms are straight and they're not touching the ground, yeah, you can argue that your arms are not as long as you'd like them to be. So binding might feel a little bit difficult, but let's give it a go and see what happens. So let's come into side angle again, or warrior 2 pose, left foot, 2 o'clock, there. Everything is the same to start with. You see how active I am? Not this. Look at my back hip, look at everything there, and look at this, active, really feeling like I'm in the pose. Then I drop the left hand down and I try to take my left arm underneath my back leg. I hook on behind, and from here, I turn my torso to face you. I'll show you from the other angle just because it might be a little bit easier. There. I actually don't know if I can do this on the other side. I've always demoed it on one side. Let's see. So start active. This might be a really humbling moment for me. Hold it here. So drop down, and you see how I have to sink down there. Take the arm. There we go. And this is where most people hold. I need you to turn there. So if you watch from this angle, let me show you from here. What most people do, they take the bind and they hang here. But you need to resist gravity by turning away. You need to turn to face the ceiling. What's happening here? All the muscles working, engaging are all the same. Intricate foot muscles, quads, hamstrings, hips, glutes, everything is working. What's stretching? Well, we're stretching the muscles of the chest and shoulder to create that bind. We internally rotate the top arm. We internally rotate the bottom arm. So we're stretching external rotators. We're also stretching the lats to a degree and your pectorals. It's a very challenging pose. The hardest part of it is to prevent that torso dropping and turning it upwards. I would only try this version if I was exceptionally confident in the version before, where I'm using my arm to stabilize my body. If I feel stable, the bind feels so accessible. But if you're not stable, everything feels so horrible. This is my favorite version of side angle. The fascinating part of this is that in the Bikram school of yoga, this version is referred to as Trikonasana, meaning triangle pose. But the mechanics are exactly the same as triangle. The demand now is more on the torso than in previous versions. Let me tell you what I mean by that. So warrior two again, you can start here, push the knee forward, lift the hip. Okay, so again, I push my right knee forward and then I lift my hip up by pushing this heel into the ground. There, see how engaged I am? Now take your arm away. Middle finger touches down, only touches, and reach there. Okay, this version places an incredible additional demand on your core and in your obliques, because when I do this, my arm holds up the weight of my body. When I take this away, all of a sudden, this is much harder on my core. And I'm only touching, not resting, there. And I'm resisting gravity. Can you see that? Engage your back leg. Oh, that is such a good pose. It's just unfortunate it's associated with Mr. Chowdhury. But so let's have an overview. Every single one of those 5 variations works, contracts, engages, essentially makes stronger all the muscles of the lower body. Your glutes, specifically the muscle to the outside, glute medius, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, the intricate foot muscles. There are too many muscles to mention. Every muscle that is working here to hold you up is being engaged. Some just work harder than others. In terms of what is being stretched, in version 1, the primary stretch I would say is your lats and your obliques, or QL, which is to the lower back, just there. In the second version, the primary stretch changes now to your pectoral on the left side and the anterior deltoid or front of the shoulder on my left side. In version 3, I would argue there's not much of a stretch going on here. You can just hold this, hold it in place. However, if you wanted to keep your arm here, you can stretch by reaching up, stretching your chest and shoulder, or reaching forward, stretching into your lats. Version 4, where you take the bind, that now stretches more into your chest and shoulders, keeping the stability in your lower body. And version 5, you can successfully argue it doesn't stretch anything, and all it does is promote muscular endurance, long-term muscular strength, balance, you name it. And there you have it. So that should hopefully help you see that there's never a right or wrong way to do yoga poses, as long as it doesn't hurt. Each variation that you're shown by a teacher just changes the primary stretch. As long as the foundation is stable and as long as you're active in your foundation, you can experiment with your arms and create different shapes. Again, each shape just slightly changes the anatomy. Don't forget to subscribe, like, for all things yoga. And I'm hoping that if you stick around with us and you subscribe, you're going to really learn how to find that intricate balance between science and tradition.